Back for another edition of Mike and the Musketeers, and we are joined by Aaliyah Dunham, the point guard for the women's basketball team. You are coming to us all the way from beautiful South Charleston, West Virginia, your hometown. How is life in South Charleston these days?
It's good because it's good to be back home. Very small town. We were just talking about, the food, some things that I miss, the hometown restaurants and stuff. So it's always good to be back home.
Yeah, I gave you the address, 5403 McCorkle Avenue, and that is the home of a Tudor's Biscuit World, one of my favorite places. So when you come back, you're bringing me the Mary B, and you know what that is, right? So tell people.
Yes. So the Mary B is a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit from Tudor's Biscuit World. They're located all over West Virginia, and it's probably one of the best breakfast places in the state. So it's very good.
They are fantastic. Just fantastic. All right, so you just mentioned you've been home for a while, really since probably March, correct?
Yes.
You got a big family. You're very close to your family. Is this sort of a blessing in disguise coming off of this situation to come home and spend a little extra, maybe unexpected time with your family?
Yes, it has been. I know my family has enjoyed me being home because I don't get a lot of time with them. And then recently my mom and my sister have been working from home. So we're getting a lot of family time in, watching a lot of movies and just hanging out. And we've been doing, going out and just fishing, just going out and enjoying the weather when we can. So I think it's a great time to be home.
Have you discovered anything new during this time? Maybe a movie, maybe a new hobby, maybe something that you're exploring for the first time?
No, not really. I had got an electric guitar for my birthday last summer. I've tried it out. It lasted probably a couple of days when I was really serious about it. I haven't picked it up in a while. I probably should. This was the perfect time to do it. I just really haven't got into it yet.
What kind of music are you going to play when you get into it?
I don't know. There's just a lot. I just have a lot of songs in mind that I want to play that I would never learn. There's just one song that
What's at the top of the list?
Gravity by John Mayer.
Oh, nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. I would.
There's another.
What?
I was going to say there's a fellow West Virginia over there. The guy's name is Brad Paisley. Maybe you heard of him. Pretty good guitarist.
Yeah.
You can hang out with him for a little bit. Get some lessons.
Yeah, maybe.
So John Mayer, Gravity. Why is that at your top of your list?
I don't know. I was recommended by a friend to listen to it like a long time ago. And I've always just liked the guitar in the song. So when I listen to it, I'm like, I want to play this, but it's so hard. I'm not that experienced yet. I'm definitely in the beginner's journey. So that's probably not going to be on the top of the list. I'll probably be in a couple of years, but that's one of the songs I want to learn.
You're pretty good at taking on challenges. I think you'll be fine once you get going on that.
Yeah, once I can get going and learn the notes and stuff and be able to read music, I think I could get it.
All right, take us back a couple of weeks. You finish up your tournament, and
yes.
You learn about this COVID-19. You start seeing maybe some conference games getting canceled. What starts going through your head when you see this happening, and what were some of your first thoughts when all this started going on?
So I was actually at the beach at the time, and little tournaments were canceling. I think the first tournament I saw was the MAC cancel, and I was like, well, I was very confused because at the time being, it wasn't as big as we thought it was going to be. So I was very confused, but I was like, it started to click that it was actually getting really serious. And then so I actually flew. So I wanted to take precautions. So I was trying to go out and find Lysol and wipes and stuff, and everywhere was sold out. And that's when I think it really hit me, this is actually a serious matter. I had no clue that it was going to be as long as it is. I thought maybe it would just, be a week and then everything would be fine. And then when we got the message that spring break had been extended, that's when it started to actually really kick in from my perspective and from a school perspective.
So how was it finishing up the academic year online, doing exams and all that fun stuff? Is it challenging for you?
Yeah, it was challenging. You would find yourself not motivated as much as you would be in person. And a lot of the tests were different. They weren't something you expected. So that was a different thing. It's a little challenge. It was a little challenging, but at the same time, it wasn't, because I took online classes before, so it wasn't something that I was totally not used to. So from that perspective, it was fine. But the tests and the exams were a little different.
You were part of a little bit of a postseason awards at Xavier. The XPs were online this year, and you got nominated for the most awkward photo. And it was a photo where you're kind of winking at the camera. What was going on?
I can tell you exactly what happened from that photo. It was against Creighton at home, and I had got poked in my eye, and I was like trying to wipe it, and I guess the cameraman just got me right as I was like messing with it, and it oh man, that was a good photo. Actually, it was kind of funny.
You're a good nominee, but are you a little upset maybe you didn't win that award, or is that one you would just rather not win?
I mean, it would be great to win, but Tyreek Jones was definitely topping mine. So,
all right, let's talk a little bit about your season last year. You became really the main point guard. You were in sharing some time with T. Owens. T had to lead the team and get out of it. You took over that role and kind of ran with it from the leadership perspective and from the minutes perspective. Did you feel like you really took hold of it, and did you embrace that role right away, or did you have to grow into it maybe a little bit?
I think I had to grow into it a little bit. I was challenged, but it was something that I wanted. I wanted to accept the challenge. It took me a while to tweak things, to get in the flow with it, but I think overall I did a great job. I kind of ran with it after I got comfortable and understood what my role was.
So first-year head coach, the point guard is the extension of the head coach on the floor. What are some of the ways that you and Coach Moore were able to get to know each other and maybe build a little trust between yourselves?
Just going to our office and talking, watching a little bit of clips, having those one-on-one talks, whether it was about basketball or not. Just getting to know each other a little better actually helped us on the court and off the court.
So you had some ups and downs in that season. How do you feel like you evolved personally over that year and in your game as well? What are some of the things you think you did well last year?
Yeah, I think I overcame a lot mentally and physically that, before I probably would never even think about. So I think I grew a lot from a lot of perspectives. I was in a lot of tough situations. So, being able to understand what you went through and why you went through it could make you go a lot farther. So I think that was good for me.
So all that season experience builds up. You get to your tournament game, and you hit a big three-pointer, a little step-back three, long step-back three. Actually, time's expiring. You had the confidence to take the shot, and you made the shot. So how did it feel in that moment to get that game to overtime?
I felt great. Everyone has those dreams of, that big-time shot, and it just luckily it went in for me, and it was a great feeling. And then I also had my teammates right there with me, so that was a great feeling.
Fantastic. So the team was able to build some chemistry last year, and now you're sort of broken up. You're all over the country doing your things at home because you have to.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of Zoom calls with the team, but how has that process been going, and how have you been able to stay in touch with some folks?
Yeah, so our chemistry was great last year, and it's continued to be great. We do a lot of Zoom calls. We are in group chats. We're Snapchatting each other, FaceTiming each other. So I think, it's kind of the same thing because we were so close. We called each other. We talked to each other. We would hang out every day. So, it's the same thing, but just over the phone. We're calling each other, just talking, talking about what we're doing, school, helping each other with schoolwork, helping each other with outfits, just little things. We're just talking to each other and communicating with each other. So.
Xavier Sisters is a part of this chemistry program. So who's your sister, and what have you maybe learned about that person?
Yanni is my Xavier sister as well. I also have two freshmen, Well, one freshman and one transfer, Kay and Mac. But we just, we text each other. First, Yanni is like my little sister. Ever since she stepped on campus, we've always been really tight. So our normal calls, even Xavier's sisters, like we've always called each other every day pretty much. We just like that. We click like that. We'll call each other and we won't even talk to each other for 20 minutes. That's just the type of relationship we have. Mac and I have talked. We've called on the phone. We've FaceTimed because she's in a different, she's in New York. So it's very interesting to learn what they're going through and their process. And then Kay's in Ohio as well. So we've talked about, the virus, what's going on with her and all that. So Xavier's sister is it's a good thing for us. It holds us accountable and checking on each other. So it's good for me.
Who do you give the most fashion advice to, and how does that work? What's the exchange there?
You said what advice? Fashion advice?
Yeah, that's a fashion advice.
Yanni always call. I mean,
Really?
it's just our relationship. She'll always call me and say, this shirt or this shirt, or this outfit, shoes, what shoes. So, I mean, I think maybe it's because we lived together her first year. So, like, she would just knock on my door and just, like, ask, and then I would ask her. So I think it's just something that we're normal with, so we just go with it. So I'm pretty sure it's probably Yanni. Yanni is definitely the one that calls about advice.
So we have the post pointer and the point guard dressing alike. That's great. That's perfect chemistry right there. So looking back to last season a little bit, a lot of learning experience. What do you feel like you learned the most, and what did you maybe discover about yourself as you move through that whole process?
Just confidence. I think probably my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was just out there. So I think I grew a lot in the confidence perspective. Would you ask you?
Just what word? Maybe learn something about yourself, something new. Did you discover maybe a new trait that you hadn't really gotten in touch with about yourself?
So besides the confidence, I would say probably just, pushing myself mentally, whether it was like the mouth test or fatigue, just almost in every aspect I had to grow, and I was challenged and I accepted those challenges. But in order to, complete those challenges, I had to face myself mentally. And I think that's where I grew the most and learned a lot about myself. And I think that will help me in the future.
So we got a little news, I think just yesterday, that possibly the NCAA kind of cleared the way for some teams to, if it's possible and safe to do, to come back to campus and start working out. So what might you be looking forward to when that time comes that you're going to get back to Cincinnati and Xavier and your teammates? What are some of the first things you're going to try to do once you get back?
I mean, first just hanging out with my teammates, like physically. I mean, 6 feet apart, but just being there physically, because it's very different not being there with them. So that would probably be one of the first few things. I would definitely like to go to Texas Roadhouse. That's top of the list. I'm not sure if it would be possible, but Kings Island.
Okay. Kings Island can open. You got a chance there. That'd be good.
I got a chance, but I don't know if it would be smart to go. So I don't know. But those are probably the top 3 things that I would want to do in Cincinnati.
Okay. So did you have a chance to check out The Last Dance? It's a Michael Jordan documentary. Did you watch any of that?
I watched a couple episodes. I always forgot that it was on. So, like, I would be doing something right before it started or right as it was starting. And then I would check my phone, and then I'd realize, oh, it's on. And then by then, it was like, I've missed half of the episode. And then I never realized that the second one came on right after, so I missed. But I do know it's on Hulu, so I am going to rewatch it all.
So did you have any takeaways from that, from the episodes you were able to see, just about his style of game and maybe identify some of what you do with what he was able to do?
Yeah, so I just loved his leadership from the get-go. I didn't really I never really took the time to watch Michael Jordan because I wasn't in that era. I just always heard people talk about it. I never really went back and watched. But, I mean, just the way he went about himself and, like, the team. I think there was one, I can't remember what episode, but one player wasn't going as hard as they should have. And he, like, flat out told them. I think that's just something that I can learn from, you know, being able to hold people accountable, but also him being who he was. He finished first in all of the sprints. So, like, I need to be able to do, like, hold each other accountable, but also hold myself accountable. So I think just watching that and understanding what he was doing and how he held them accountable is something that I could take away from.
So once you do get back, and we're going to assume there's going to be a season in some capacity, what are some of the goals that you're going to set for your team, yourself, and your team as you get ready for your senior year?
Just, you know, going out and winning every day. You know, focusing on day by day instead of long term or in the past. So just, you know, making sure we're winning the day and then move on from the next day to the next day. That would be the first goal. But then, you know, Big East championship is always the goal. And then just small individual goals as well.
All right, so if you had one wish in the next couple of months for you and your team, what would that be? What do you want to see happen for everybody that you're around in your Xavier family?
Just the, you know, play. I mean, you know, play and have fun when playing. Just because right now it's just like, who knows? Everything's up in the air. Just to be told, like, you will play. We have a game. You know, that I think that's the first step in my goal for right now, is just to know that, like, we have a game next week or something, you know, or in a month to prepare for.
All right, AD, it was great to see you. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us, and stay well, and we hope to see you back here in Cincinnati real soon.
Thank you.